You know, with the year coming to an end, I genuinely didn't think Anbernic would release any more devices. Maybe, just maybe, another XX line device, potentially. But even still, the XX Cube was still a quite surprising announcement. And even more surprising is the Anbernic RG406H. The original 406 is a DMG-style handheld with dual analog sticks in a 4-inch screen, rocking the T820 chipset from the Anbernic RG556, which has been one of my favorite devices. Much like the non-H's older brother, the original 406, it also uses the T820, which is honestly kind of sick. The original T820 found inside of the 556 is capable of emulation up until the GameCube and PS2 era, and that's an incredibly potent chipset. Not the fastest thing out there, but incredibly good value. With this chipset, the Anbernic RG556 was able to be a valiant competitor against the Retroid Pocket 4 and 4 Pro, pricing itself right in between those two devices. You can even find the 556 on sale right now for about $150, which is an amazing deal. And now with the announcement of the Anbernic RG406H, I think this device is sort of aiming its sights on the Retroid Pocket 2S in terms of form factor, that 4x3 display, but it's a 4-inch display, making it about an inch larger than what's found on the 2S, and being a better aspect ratio for retro games in comparison against the classic, the Pocket 4 and 4 Pro, and even including the 5 and the 5 Mini. Granted though, the Retroid Pocket 5 and 5 Mini are substantially more powerful, so I don't necessarily think comparing the 406H to those is a fair comparison, but it is not out of the ballpark. Some of the features of the 406H includes it has 8 GB of LPDDR4X memory, 120 GB of storage, it has high fidelity stereo speakers, a 5,000 mAh battery with about 7 to 5 hours of battery life depending on the games. It has a large angle 3D Hall effect joysticks, Bluetooth 5.0, a 960 by 720p 4-inch IPS display, multi-touch, so it runs Android. It supports pretty much all your major game systems, PS2, Wii, GameCube, 3DS, PSP, etc. It also has a 6-axis gyroscope, included fan with a heat pipe, sort of just active cooling essentially, Hall effect triggers, and general online wireless features. This device runs Android version 13, so not the newest version of Android out there, but still decent enough. I'm just really happy to see Hall effect joysticks really start making them just appear in every device. It's nice to see that change in the market. Hall effect joysticks are so important, especially considering the tendency of people to use Nintendo Switch style analog sticks, and if those aren't Hall effect, those will eventually succumb to drift, as all things do. I would say my one complaint about what we know so far about this device, it's gonna be its display. I wish it was OLED, because I've gotten so used to the amazing OLED display on the 556 and on many other devices out there today, and it's just so nice to have an OLED display. It just makes retro games look amazing. And not to say like an IPS display isn't gonna look great, it's not OLED. Hopefully they take the cost savings of not having an OLED display and really funnel that into lowering the overall cost of entry for this device. Ideally, I would hope for this device to be around $150 because it is 2 inches smaller in terms of screen size in comparison to the 556. And so I would hope that they can translate that into an overall cheaper price point. To get a greater understanding of what this device could potentially cost, we can take a look at the original Anbernic RG406V. That device currently sells for about $165. And to me, that's just kind of a weird price. It just doesn't feel right. You don't see very many things at 65, it's 60 or 70 kind of thing. So to me, it's a little weird. So I'm just gonna say 150, but it's probably gonna end up somewhere close to 164, judging by how the original 406V is priced. As I mentioned before with the previous 556, the 406V is also on sale if you're a fan of that DMG style layout. It is on sale for about $138, which is also really good, especially considering it has that T820 chipset capable of some pretty decent emulation, making this a pretty darn good value. If you want to go check any of those out, there are affiliate links down below, and any purchases made through those links go into supporting the channel. Thank you if you do, and thank you for all your support. But generally speaking, I think this device will hold up quite well in terms of the greater emulation market. The T820 chipset is a pretty comfortable spot to be in. You don't really need to upgrade from anything around that power level. There hasn't been really anything worthy of the upgrade, nothing that's shown to have any substantial improvements or quality of life features that might warrant it. So if you wanted to invest into an emulation device, the 406H might be a pretty decent one to go into, especially considering that 4:3 aspect ratio might be pretty important to a lot of people, especially considering that, having a wide screen, 16:9 display isn't very conducive to a lot of classic emulation, unless you're like me and you like doing widescreen mods or anything like that. Not everybody appreciates having to stretch out the image or wants to play in their most original state, and the 406H would provide probably one of the better experiences to do so. Because pretty much all the other devices around this category all tend to have 16:9 displays. The only one I can think of that doesn't is the Retroid Pocket 2S, but that isn't necessarily as powerful as either of these devices I mentioned from Anbernic today. And I think that is an amazing device at $100. That's a tremendous value. And I would love to see these devices, the 406H and the 406V, become cheaper personally, because I feel like once those devices reach a certain price point, they become one of the best devices ever. I've always been more partial to landscape form factor devices, so I know I'll be checking out the 406H even though it is functionally just a smaller 556. Don't know if that's the best financial choice for me, but I'm gonna check it out regardless. I would love to hear what you guys think. Are you interested in any of these devices? Are you excited for a 4:3 aspect ratio T820 chipset equipped device? And if you want to check out any of these devices mentioned in the video, links down below. The sale ends in 4 days, so you don't have a lot of time on that. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and all the other social media garbage down below. And last but not least, have a wonderful day.